Hello and welcome to episode 4 of our Ironteeth Meander playthrough. Timberborn, obviously. Last time we had some mistakes that led to some premature deaths of some beavers. It was unfortunate, but we're going to try to bounce back. This episode, we have to face a really long drought for where we are in the series. 19 days total, and yeah, it's going to be tough. So the focus is going to be surviving that. Beyond that fact, we're going to see what we can do during this drought because there's only so much. It's kind of to survive this drought would have meant preparing for a long drought, and we didn't get this reservoir built very high during that time. So there's not a whole lot more we can do during the drought to help us survive it, except for carefully managing water to not let our crops die. So we're going to brainstorm on what else we want to start working on. Honestly, expanding this reservoir is probably one of the top priorities. And we'll see if we can make any other improvements along the way. Without further ado, let's get started. And first thing I'm going to do is take these beavers off of the 24-hour working days. We had that to try to save beavers. It didn't happen. Is what it is. Let's see. So we're going to keep trying to build out the reservoir here. It actually, during a drought, is a good time to build this, too. Water's not actively flowing. So if we say delete these dams, we can replace them with levees to let it, oofta. We can replace the levees to build it up, and we won't have anything overflowing during that time. That's what I was trying to say. Let's see. How do we actually build this out, though? Without using ladders, I think we're going to unmark this tree for cutting. And then we might place a platform there to save on resources. And just something so that we can eventually walk across that. Yeah, that's probably the best bet. Wish we had more water saved than we do. We don't. I am nervous about irrigation, even more so than I am about keeping the beavers hydrated. For the simple fact that we can kind of pump out as needed to watch the hydration. If we overpump, there's no going back from overpumping. So. Okay, and we do have a little extra water stored here, so that's very good. In fact, we might let some of that out now. I don't want to overflow this, but I'd like to have more of the water concentrated with less surface area. Because this is a lot of surface area, so we're losing a lot to evaporation there. So maybe we actually pump quite a bit now, so that we can safely let out the water here to kind of concentrate it. So the water would then move to our tanks and then to our deeper reservoirs to lower evaporation. That's the idea. Let's see if it works out. We are not full on mangrove fruits, but we aren't moving them away from here. Let's see. One of these is mango fruits, I believe. Yes. So basically, we don't have enough haulers moving it over here, which is no surprise. We had a lot of beavers die. What's going on here? That building was being emptied for, I think, because it was in preparation to delete it, maybe, to try to get logs. I can't exactly remember. Or it was try to build a staircase there. But we found another way. Actually, I think we wanted to connect those two paths. Sorry. It was the whole work week since I last played this playthrough, so I'm trying to remember what I was working on. We got way more power than we need with what we currently have. have running. So we could take a beaver off of that to hopefully get a hauler. We could also ferment some cassavas. We'll check what we have for raw cassava storage. Honestly, since we're not fermenting cassavas right now, and raw cassavas are more efficient for storage for potential food, I'm going to try to store more raw cassavas in case we lose irrigation. That would be a good backup food source for us. All right, so this pumped down a decent amount. I'm going to release more of this water. I still don't want it to flow off the map. So I'm trying not to release too much. Because even though there's more evaporation here, I'd rather have it there than flowing off the map entirely. Maybe I should have watched. I didn't even want it to overflow here. I don't think it did. Oh, now some is. So any that gets stored over here is kind of a waste too. In fact, with that in mind, let's set up some pumps over here. Or at least just to help with the current predicament. If we move that path down one, we can build more pumps. That might actually be a better spot because it's less walking. We're just in survive the drought mode as much as possible. And that would involve storing as much water as possible and keeping as much water in our reservoirs as possible. So they don't have a way up here yet. We do need to fix that. Right there will be as good a place as any. Then they can start building that out. Trying to decide what the most efficient way to get up here is. If it would be to build platforms across here, or maybe we climb up this direction and get these trees while we're at it. This is a lot more to climb though. Oh, that's still probably the better option, to be honest. No. In the long run, I think it'll be this way because then they can still use that same long storage to build. If we do it this way, they're far away from storages to build. Kind of rambling a little bit and changing my mind a lot, and that's simply because I'm still a little frazzled from losing those beavers earlier. So we do need to get our population up and running a little higher. I do think we can release more water here. Maybe not. Maybe just a little. Okay, we did overflow there. Are we overflowing here? No, we're not. Not yet, anyway. Okay, that's good. I think throwing in these pumps, even though they're far away from everything, I think it will help quite a bit. We're going to want some storage over here. I might even put a medium tank over here for now. Oh, we don't have the gears for it. Never mind. Bad idea. Or rather, not a very feasible idea. I'm gonna slow down that. Keep that deep so that we have some that's not evaporating. Probably still want one pump in though. Do we have some haulers now? We do. Okay. We had two beavers or one beaver just recently grow up. That's very helpful. We need those beavers to grow up so that we can replace our workforce that we lost. All right. We're starting to get caught up. We're 5 days through this very long drought. We haven't even depleted all of this water yet. So I like to see that. But it does look like it's getting low. Okay, so we did overflow there some. I think the more we can concentrate it in these deeper pools, the better we're going to be. Is it overflowing there? No, it's not. Okay, yeah, I think we can just lower that entirely, let it all flow into here, and nothing went off the map. This water is just going to be lost to evaporation, and it's not helping irrigate anything, so that is going to be our pump focus. This is going to be set to supply, and I'm also going to prioritize supplying from that warehouse. All right, looking good. We're recovering from that terrible mistake. And they are starting to build this up a little. Okay. Gosh, this needs triple platforms even. So that will be, what, 60 planks just to get across there. But once we're done, once we don't need it, I mean, we're still going to keep building up, so we will need it for a while. It'll be worth the planks, I think. I do think it's the best way to get up here. Probably wrong, because it would have only taken a few stairs, and 60 planks is a lot. I didn't check the math. I think the mangrove fruits are actually coming in clutch to keep us fed. I'm also going to prioritize this by haulers, because I want those mango fruits out of there so this guy can keep working. He should be able to reach all these. I just see a lot that are waiting to be harvested. I wonder if we just have too many mangrove fruits for this one gatherer flag. I wonder if we put down another one, even just temporarily, to help them catch up, if that will make a difference. It might. It might not. I know we only have the 2 builders right now, but I don't think we can spare a whole lot of labor. I did take one out of the lumber mill, but honestly, we might want to put one back, because we're going to eat through those planks with these triple platforms. Our population might be growing too fast. We might want to... I guess we only have 3 kits. That's not terrible. We're just going to have to keep an eye on that now that we built that 3rd breeding pod to help us get our population back. We're going to want to watch that. This lumberjack flag was occupied for a long time unnecessarily. So that was labor we could have had elsewhere. I do want to start getting science again, if at all possible. When we took it out of here, where did that beaver go? Thought it would have went right there, but it didn't. Okay, the good news is we have triple platforms now. $150 science, or using 4 more planks. I think 4 more planks is cheaper at the moment. So now they're going to be able to walk across that. Okay. We have pumped all the water out of here. So these pumps are no longer useful. Let's check how we're doing. We got 20 beavers, so that's 40 water a day. We got 10 days, so that's 400 water. We actually have all the water in storage that we need at the moment. So I feel a lot better now, actually, because that means these crops are not going to die. What is going on here? There's just a hungry beaver collecting mangrove fruits. Okay, eat a mangrove fruit if you're so hungry. Sheesh. We got so many mangroves. That's a lot of food in those mangroves. It really is. And I'm here for it. Okay. I like the progress. We got an unemployed beaver. We're going to put another worker for now. Another builder. Sorry. Excuse me. I would like to rebuild our inventor huts that we demolished just for the logs. So we're going to do that. They're still going to be low priority, but I like having them available. So if we happen to have spare beavers, they have something to do. Since we've been doing okay on logs, I think after this drought is over, I am going to replace this large power wheel with an engine if we have the science. We'll need just a few, we'll need more gears and so just a couple more metal blocks, but that engine will allow us to free up that labor from the shared wheel of shame. So even with these two, still not caught up on the mangroves, which I guess is a good problem to have. Too much food. Not enough storage for mangrove fruits, though. So let's address that. Storage. Not enough storage for kohlrabies either. I know this is irrigated ground, but it's also, if this goes down to just one tile, it's not irrigated ground. And we already had the height here for 2 warehouses. So that's why I decided to just plant that there. We are going to have to start fermenting these cassavas. We want the workplace priority on all of these to be lower. A lot of beavers are growing up. We're actually doing okay on a lot of that. All right. The demand is a little higher than what we have. If we can pause this lumber mill probably. We have 73 planks at the moment. And I wanted to start fermenting those cassavas so we could keep harvesting them. Because we definitely don't need more than 400 stored. Also, so that we have that other food source again. Problem is that we don't have storage for fermented cassavas yet. I think we can delete this small water tank. We're just going to go right here again to utilize that same upper level. So one of these can be fermented cassavas. I'm not sure about the other one yet. I would like to get soybeans going fairly soon. The next one of the next food sources for Ironteeth are fermented soybeans, which take 6 soybeans and 1 canola oil to make 20 fermented soybeans. For the canola oil, you need to plant canola and you need an oil press. So that's more buildings that we don't have at the moment. But that's okay. We'll get it sorted eventually. Fermented cassavas. Not sure what to have you at. We're actually approaching our mangrove fruits again. I'm really surprised we got so many mangroves going. I'm happy about it, but I am surprised. It's usually hard to find a good spot to grow so many mangroves consistently early on. And we actually found one, and it's working out excellent. So, okay, so all of this is at lower priority. I think we can bump that to normal priority and just get some of it done. I think more builders will help with that. And honestly, before this drought's over, let's go ahead and focus on actually raising this up now. Gotta delete this path. Would really like it if they can access those logs. So let's do our trick to move those logs over. See, and they can reach that spot. Okay, so levee, levee, levee. So even if that's all that gets done, it will flow out here where we would put the dams anyway. That means that this stairs isn't useful anymore, so we can get a little bit of resources back there. All right, we're looking okay. I think we can safely pump some of this water just to keep our stores high. Makes no sense to have that one going. This one's technically a little bit closer. I think putting these two pumps in and pumping out all that water that would just been lost to evaporation was a good move to help us survive this long drought. Remember this section of the canal, we storing water there was kind of a byproduct of our main goal, which was to keep the bad water out in case of a bad tide. But we were able to utilize that water with these pumps, and it worked out pretty good. Let's see, we can probably afford to have a few more oaks growing here. I'm curious if we can go down to one gatherer flag perhaps. We're caught up on the mangrove, so let's see if that one that's left can keep up with that. So let's look at this guy. He's doing a lot of fruits too, berries too. Okay, so now they're coming in, but he's really not that far behind at all. Just missing basically one. Yeah, that's an acceptable level of being behind, I think. Unless it starts building up more, reflecting when we had two of them harvesting, we might just leave that. See how that does for a bit. We might even want to put a closer pile. Of logs. So yes, that's close, but it could be closer. And I'd really like to get this completed, and we're going to be waiting on the logs to do it. Problem is they can't get to these till they've completed these. So, but it's still going to hold more water. I guess with the dams here, it's not holding more water than that per se. There's a lot of logs here that they could pick up. Let's prioritize that first. So speed up the building process. We got 4 builders. We got plenty of fermented cassavas. We can turn that off. We can turn off both of these. We'll get 2 labor out of that so we can have another hauler and still have some inventor huts going. And that should speed this process up. Prioritize that building by haulers. And actually, if we even set this at a high priority, the builders will pick up those logs and they should deposit them in one of these 2 places that are close by. All right, we'll put that back in normal now. Let the builders focus on building. I still think picking up rubble should be a hauler's job, but it is delegated to the builders currently. That's how it's programmed. And the mangroves are getting away from us with just 1 gatherer. So we're going to need 2 with our amount of mangroves. I really like that they're spreading over here. Unfortunately, they can't spread right in front of the sluice, but we still have 2 more spots up here as well. Drought's almost over. We didn't get as much of this done as I'd like, but we survived a very long drought for what we had. It felt like it was pretty early in the game for that long of a drought. Yeah, I guess we're cycle 10. So maybe we're just progressing slowly because of mistakes. That very well could be the case. Okay, so we're going to have power through these wheels, so we won't need the large wheel of shared shame for a while. We got quite a bit of technology, of science going, so I do want to start making some more gears and not fall behind on our planks. Just takes a little while for the water to get all the way here, because for the full amount of the flow, we needed it to fill up everything. Let's go ahead and raise this up just a little bit so it does store some water there. That extra water we had stored back there came in very handy. Right about there should be good. Okay. So we're producing a little more gears. I actually want to produce those last 2 metal blocks that we need for the engine as well. There's water flowing that way. That might mean this is just a little bit too high. Let's try 0.85. Because really, water should just flow over here easier than it does over there. Maybe easier is not the right word. Things have backed up somehow enough that got over. Interesting. It's because we don't have enough edges right now. Yes, because we built part of this. We don't have enough edges that the water's falling off of. So we're reaching the waterfall limit. Remember, there's 8 flow here. And right now, where water is falling off, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 edges. So that's not, should be 2.2. So that's right at the 11 that this flow is at. So it's backing up just a little bit. It's not able to flow through this fast enough. That was a bad tide warning, which means during a bad tide, we're not able to store any of this water because it will be bad water. So we won't have that extra bit that we did last time. We got the 20 metal blocks. We can pause that again. Maybe that means we can throw in another beaver in the lumber mill. Let's keep building platforms here so that we can build those other water wheels. Why is that cassava? Oh, that never mind. Oh, that makes perfect sense that the cassava storage is there. It's where we ferment them from. I do want to replace this with an engine. No more beavers have to degrade themselves. Unfortunately, I should have moved some of the logs and collected them before that. Oh well. This does take 25 gears. We're not quite there, but we are producing gears, so it should be fine. And remember, it is a bad time coming, so we will still have some flow from this. Water wheels won't do everything that they're needed, but we will have some flow. They won't provide enough power to cover everything. That's what I was trying to say. I was trying to figure out why we're having trouble storing all these logs. I thought it might have been haulers, but I think we're just straight up running out of storage. Let's go ahead and put another log storage right over here. We'll actually set that to obtain because it's pretty far from where we're growing our trees, and it'll be useful to have it over here. Yeah, the limiting factor for cutting down these oaks is that we don't have enough storage to put the logs at the moment. That'll give them something to walk on to be able to complete this. That's what was holding that up. Okay. I think I even want a 5th hauler. We can take one more out of the inventor huts. That should be fine. All right, we don't actually need this running right now because we have plenty of power from the water wheels. This just consumes logs to create 400 HP of power. Bad tide started. Let's pause and make sure we raise this up because we need to. Now force all the water over here. Be nice if our water wheels were down here more for the power. That will be the plan eventually. So that during a bad tide, we can make use of all of this flow instead of the much more modest flow that we get over here. But we are still, well, we're not quite producing enough water, enough power. So we will turn on this engine after all. It's not a very long bad tide. I'm actually going to pause pumping for a little bit. Maybe just have one of these pumping. Because remember, this water is just here by coincidence. It's a byproduct of us trying to keep this bad water out. And it is doing its job perfectly. What it's supposed to be doing is keeping that bad water away from our mangrove trees. Population's growing pretty fast. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. I don't want it to explode beyond what we can keep fed. It might almost be time to pause one of these breeding pods. But we're doing okay. And that's being completed. All right, let's look at what else we want to get going. I do think I want to utilize this area for a farm. And move most of our food production over there. I feel it'll be more consistent than also relying on the place where we draw our water from. And I really do like the irrigation ponds. So it's just a matter of where do we put it exactly. Sometimes I click on this storage thinking that those look like levees. So yeah, that's what was happening there. Just I think in the center here somewhere. Forget exactly how many tiles can irrigate away from it. I think about there will probably be good. Oh, we actually don't need that one. We can just put platforms up there and a stairs. We will need the fluid dump, but we definitely have the resources for that. But trees have a longer drought resistance than most of the crops. So I feel more comfortable having trees along where we're pumping than I do food. So I might put another forester here and just have this whole area be a tree farm and have this area be our food farm until we relocate somewhere else. But I think that will be a good use of it for now. Okay, it looks like there are 2 ruins on this map. Good to know. 2 underground ruins. We haven't even got to utilizing those on our further along playthrough yet. All right, so this reservoir expansion is almost done. We're doing great there. When we want bad water pumps, it's actually, see, if we pump over from down here anywhere, it will during the temperate season be mixed with good water, so that lowers the efficiency of the pumps. So really we're going to want to pump close to this bad water source. So eventually we're going to have to climb up there. We've already climbed up most of the way. Bad water pump does require metal blocks, which we have access to. But the sooner we can get that going and the explosive factory, the sooner we can start terraforming. And I think there's going to be a lot of things we want to do with that. So, yeah. We are now eating through our logs at a high rate, partially because of this engine. Just kind of is what it is at this point. Kind of got to be done. I'm unpausing the fermenter because we're full on cassava storage, and we are also out of fermented cassavas. I do think getting towards explosives is going to be kind of one of our focuses for the next episode. Because that will allow us to make this reservoir deeper. Like we can blow up this section and also even expand it over this way, which we'll probably do. So yeah, I do believe that is a good plan. I was nervous about the expanding population. Oh, that engine is really eating into our logs though, isn't it, guys? Because that uses every 5 hours it uses up a log. So just shy of 5 logs a day. Maybe we didn't have the tree production to facilitate that. Since we are going to move the crop production over here eventually, let's, in anticipation for that, build another forester here, and we can already plant trees on this section. We'll turn this guy on real quick, have him chop down that one pine. Good. It's prioritize this forester and get some oaks planted here, because we're gonna need the logs eventually, probably sooner rather than later. Wait a minute, we have a mangrove planted there, but it can't reach. Well, that's why it's not propagating there, because this forester cannot reach there. Okay. You know, we can't, it doesn't make sense to unpause this gatherer flag to help with those mangrove fruits because we're full on storage. We just have so many mangroves that our beavers can't eat it fast enough. We could keep building more storage to keep harvesting them, but they're still not going to be eating fast enough. So it's not like they go bad, I guess, but it's just not really necessary to keep getting more until our population goes up. Let's double check that this can reach all of that. It can. Excellent. It'll take a while for these oaks to come online. But they will be useful once they do. We can turn back on that lumberjack flag and get these oaks over here. We are low on logs. That's the only reason. Okay, bat tide ended. So we're going to let all that bad water clear out. Okay, that's pretty much clear. Let's let the water flow. Fill this up, and then it'll spill over up there. And we want these pumps to be going again. At least one, probably two. Huh. Water spilling over that way before it's reaching up here. Okay. So that's actually a problem. We made our dam too high. All the water spilling over that way before it spills over here. So, mistake, yes, absolutely, but not an impossible to fix one. We're just going to have to get access down here and access up here. We're going to have to put floodgates up here, or maybe even, really, we should probably put sluices up there so that those automatically open when bad water is there. I just got to do the math on how much we need. 8. We have a flow of 8, so that's how much we need to be able to let through there. So we need at least, what is it, 6 edges? Did I say flow of 8? It's a flow of 11. But we need 6 edges. And over here right now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we got plenty of edges there. So we just got to maintain. We just got to be aware of what we're doing with the sluices. Basically. So if we have a sluice like, yeah, we can go up this way a little bit. And it'll just trap some over here. So if we just had that, and then the rest of our levees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's just barely enough. Just because I'm not confident on my math, we'll do that. One more never hurt. I don't know why I did that. That's just a silly path. They don't need it right next to it. Okay, this will take some metal blocks to complete. Let's build a storage up here for metal blocks. Obtain high priority. Please and thank you. And high priority there. It still isn't done. Oh, we put that as a workplace high priority, but not as a construction high priority. We do want that completed. So right now, the only oaks that got planted over here were the ones that this forester could reach. Oops. Now this one can reach everything. There we go. And honestly, I'm comfortable with the population going up at the moment. I think that's just fine. Oh, we can turn it. Well, this isn't producing a whole lot of power because all the water's flowing this way. All right, we're on a timer for these sluices now. What I am going to do to make sure more water comes this way during this temperate cycle is I will delete 2 of these. That will let water out this way. We're still not going to have edges to get all of the water going that way, but I definitely want some of it to flow. It's kind of a waste of resources the way we did that, but we got too ambitious and the water started flowing this way. We might actually complete this in time. I didn't think we were since they weren't making any progress for a while there. So we can close this when it's below a contamination of 1. We need to make sure we set the same settings over here. Now all the water should go this way, and we deleted these 2 for nothing, essentially. Wonderful. Not. I don't know why, but I've made a lot more mistakes on this Ironteeth playthrough than I did on the Folktales. I am more comfortable on Folktales, but the mistakes I'm doing have nothing to do with the Ironteeth mechanics. It's just I'm making more mistakes. It happens. We're fine. Flooded building. Oh. Well, that makes total sense too. That it would flood over there. Okay. I don't like the solution for that, but I don't know if there's much of another one. It shouldn't flood over that way once we have the edges. So once we have all of this complete, I don't think it should flood that way. No, this is higher than that too. Gosh darn it. All of these issues are basically stemming from being overly ambitious by making this reservoir that height. Why did I think matching that would be okay? I don't know. So, to prevent this flooding, we could just open these sluices again. So let's do that, because that's better. The water flowing over here is better than it flowing over there. You guys are either crying for me or laughing at me, and I'm not sure which one is better. You know, if I start laughing too, we're all laughing together. So let's do that. So there was just more steps than necessary to get this reservoir this height. Oh well. Unconnected building. Oh. Not anymore. Though let's pause it for now. because I'm not. Next episode, we'll work on moving the farming over onto this side. I think before we do that, though, we're going to want to look at the potential of tubeways. We waited a little too long last series to get zip lines going, and this is a larger map, and we're already getting more spread out. So with that in mind, I think we're going to want to try to get tubeways going a little earlier this playthrough than we got zip lines going last time. We just need a lot more metal stored up to make that happen. Okay, so these are all set to open. So if I close this, all the water should flow that way for this bad tide. 12-day bad tide, a little longer. Not terrible. Not near as bad as that 19-day drought, though, guys. I'm just glad we survived that, to be perfectly honest. I was a little nervous. I am confident with our water stores and our food stores that we can hold the population. But we just need more housing. We have no spare beds right now. So decoration-wise, a shrubbery. And since they can walk across here, they should be able to access that. So let's go ahead and do that. Lantern. You know, with the metal blocks that we have access to now, we really should take advantage of these beaver busts to increase our well-being. That's a good use for that. Okay, I don't think we're going to get through the entirety of this bad tide. So we're going to wrap it up here pretty soon. I think I'm just going to focus on pumping out of this section again, just to use up that water first. That could be kind of our first water source on a long bad tide or drought, so that we can keep this irrigated. So I am getting prepared to wrap this up. During the bad tide, we do have some water flow, but just not a lot. I think if we stop the water from flowing over here and concentrate it here, it'll actually be a net gain. So before I forget, I'll turn the engine on. And I want to delete these two. And we can replace it with levees here. Really one levee, and yeah, we have the planks. It makes a lot more sense to just do 2 levees there. And then platforms here. So then that's set up for the next episode. Let's see if we can get those resources in an accessible spot. There we go. We can prioritize these levees over. Why am I clicking individually? My brain is just everywhere today. Hopefully the episode was still entertaining, with me rambling and going every which direction with my thoughts. Oh, I still want the levees to be high priority. There we go. I want picking up that rubble to be extra high. That way we're short on logs. I want to make sure they collect those logs before they can't access them anymore. Just want to see that completed, and then we'll do our little talk about what we accomplished. Actually, we can start doing that now. So today we accomplished getting this a lot higher. Honestly, we got it too high in some aspects. Mainly that it caused flooding and caused the water to go over here instead of filling up our reservoir. We eventually got it all filled up though. So we recovered in time, and we are just missing one levee over here in order to have it fixed on this side. Actually, I think we filled up a lot of that reservoir with the flood waters from over here, which was not the ideal way to do that. No trees or crops died from the flooding though, so it worked. And we got our engine going. And now we got the water more concentrated. So, okay, that makes the total supply over here 108, which isn't, I think it's more than what we had over with these two. And we can actually build up here now. So I can start building more in the industrial sector on the backside of this. So that will be useful. All right. We're not producing enough power to shut off the engine, though, during a bad tide at the moment. Really? We should... Okay, we need at least 3. Just because of the total flow during a temperate cycle. So we do need this 3 wide. Okay. I was thinking, oftentimes constricting the flow and having it go faster through less tiles actually generates more power than spreading it out and building more water wheels. So I was thinking maybe we could condense this to 2, but we can't for when there's good water flowing through here as well. So maybe we want to... No. I don't know what we're going to do about that later. We have to get creative with how to utilize this for the most power while also getting bad water from it. We did get up here, so we can start... Next episode, we'll start collecting some bad water and working our way towards explosives. And that will be very helpful to us. This was the most disorganized, rambling of an episode I think I've ever had. But I think I expressed what we want to do next episode and what we accomplished this one. So that's the goal of my wrap-up. If you watched this whole thing, thank you so much for sticking with me through my incoherent rambling. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.